In this video, we're going to be talking about relative frequency. Let's begin. So while frequency is the number of times that something occurs, relative frequency tells us the number of times something occurs compared to the total. Now, this is very important. How frequently something happens doesn't really give you that much information or context. So let me give you an example. If I told you that there was this virus called the Lyme virus and that it's killed 100 people already, you may think, oh my goodness, that sounds scary. This Lyme virus is killing all these people. 100 people have died already. But you can dig further. You may dig further and find out and question me, all right, so how many people have died over how long? And I could say, oh yeah, no, in the last 200 years, 100 people have died of the Lyme virus. And at that point, you're thinking, oh, okay, so like one person dies every 2 years. That's not that scary. But if I just gave you the raw number, 100 people have died, it sounds like a big deal. But the relative frequency gives you something very important. It gives you some extra information and context. So a relative frequency is going to be displayed either as a fraction, a ratio, or as a percentage, which is more likely. So to find the relative frequency, set up a ratio comparing the frequency to the total, then convert the ratio to a percentage. Read the questions carefully, determine whether the total is referring to the entire table or the entire table or a specific row or column. And this is the part that can get kind of confusing. You have to be really careful when you read these questions because you can make simple mistakes by forgetting or mixing some words. So let's do a simple example. In a survey of 50 people, 23 individuals answered that their favorite ice cream flavor was vanilla. What is the relative frequency of individuals who chose vanilla? Express your answer as a ratio and a percent. So 50 people were surveyed. 23 of them liked vanilla, so a little bit less than half. So 23 of them said vanilla, 50 of them total. So, the raw number is 23. 50 is the total. What percentage is that? It is about 46%. Now, how did I find that? It's 23 divided by 50. What you're going to get is 0.46. And then what you do to get a percentage is you multiply by 100, or you just move your decimal place to the right twice, and then you're going to get 46%. Let's do another example. In this one, we need to fill out this table. So complete the blank spaces in this two-way table and use the two-way table to answer the questions. Round your percentages to the nearest whole number if necessary. So it looks like people were asked whether they had a gym membership or no gym membership, and they were also asked whether they floss regularly or whether they don't floss regularly. So let's find out the total number of people who floss regularly. 21 and 21 have gym memberships, 11 don't have gym memberships, but the total number of people who floss regularly is 21 plus 11, which is 32. Doesn't floss regularly, 24 plus 44, which equals 68. So it looks like more people don't floss regularly. And let's look at the total number of people. 32 and 68 floss regularly, so 32 plus 68 is 100. For gym memberships, we have 21 who floss regularly, 24 who don't. 21 plus 24 is 45 people have gym memberships. The total number of people who don't have gym memberships is 11 plus 44, which is 55. Our table is now complete, and we could answer these questions. Of the people surveyed, so when we talk about of the people surveyed, we are talking about the total number of people. So we can be looking at this column, or we can be looking at this row. What is the relative frequency of people who floss regularly? So in order to find that information, we need to look at the total number of people who floss regularly, which is right over here. Floss regularly, of the total number, it's 32. So 32 of this total, which is 100, floss regularly. So our ratio should be 32 who floss regularly over 100 people surveyed. You notice that you actually can reduce this down, but we don't really need to. So what's the percent? It's 32 divided by 100, which is 0.32. Move the decimal over twice or multiply by 100, and then you get 32%. So of the people who own a gym membership, which is these people, and we surveyed 45 people who own a gym membership. So of those people, what's the relative frequency of people who floss regularly? So how many of these total people floss regularly? Well, 21 out of 45 of them. And 21 divided by 45 should get you a percent of 47. Let's look at the next one. Of the people who do not own a gym membership. So who do not own a gym membership? 55 people don't own a gym membership from our survey. Of those people, what's the relative frequency of people who floss regularly? Only 11 of them do. So 11 out of the 55, which is 20% of them. Does there seem to be a relationship between people who own a gym membership and people who floss regularly? Well, people who own a gym membership and floss regularly is about 47%. People who do not own a gym membership and floss regularly is about 20%. It seems to me that people, if you own a gym membership, you're more likely to floss rather than only the people who don't own a gym membership, only 20% of them floss. So you'd say, yes, there's a relationship. People who own a gym membership seem much more likely to floss than people who do not own a gym membership. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. Liz wanted to see if there was any association between people who have kids and people who have pets. The two-way table shows the results of our survey. Let's go ahead and complete this and then answer the questions. So she asked people if they had pets or no pets and whether they had kids or no kids. We can figure out whether they had pets and kids because it's the only piece of data missing. So something plus 22 equals 63. You can just subtract 22 from 63. So 63 minus 22 is 41. Pets. We have this total missing. 41 plus 23 is 64. Total, 64 plus something equals 125. Use subtraction and you get 61. No pets. 22 plus something equals 61. Use subtraction, you'll find 39. No kids. 23 plus 39 equals something. Oh, 23 plus 39 is 62. Of the people who were surveyed, what is the relative frequency who own pets? So of the total people surveyed, either this total or that total, what is the relative frequency of people who have pets? So we cannot use this total because this total shows us the kids versus no kids. So we're going to use this total. So of the people who were surveyed, which is 125 people total, how many of them had pets? So 64 out of the 125. And if you divide that and multiply by 100, you get 51%. Of the people who have kids, so people who have kids, that's this row. People who have kids, that's 63 people who have kids. What's the relative frequency of people who have pets? So 63 people have kids, 41 of them have pets. So 41 over 63. If you divide that and multiply by 100, you get 65%. Of the people who do not have kids, I'm looking at this row now. People who do not have kids, that's 62 people. What is the relative frequency of people who have pets? So 23 of those 62 have pets. So 23 of 62, divide that, move the decimal place over twice, you get roughly 37%. And finally, does there seem to be any association between people who have kids and people who have pets? Well, if you have kids, there's a 65% chance you have pets. If you don't have kids, there's only a 37% chance you have pets. So it seems to me that if you have kids, you're more likely to have pets than people who don't have kids. We're going to look at the final frequency table, two-way table. Josh wanted to test the theory that red cars receive more speeding tickets than any other color of vehicle. He asked drivers about the color of their vehicle and whether they'd ever received a speeding ticket. Fill in the blanks. So he just asked, do you have a red vehicle or a not red vehicle? He also asked, did you get a speeding ticket or have you never received a speeding ticket? Let's go ahead and fill this out. We can figure out the no speeding ticket right here. 41 plus something equals 70. Using subtraction, I find out that this is 29. Let's look at this. 41 plus 87 equals something. That something is 128. 29 plus something equals 92. I'm using subtraction and I get 63. 87 plus 63 equals something. That something is 150. And finally, 70 plus 150 equals something. I add those up and I get 220. Of the people surveyed, what percent have received a speeding ticket? So of the people surveyed, I'm looking at the totals, either this column or this row. How many of them got a speeding ticket? So speeding ticket is right here, so I'm going to need to go use this one. So of the people surveyed, which is 220, how many of them got a speeding ticket? Only 128 out of the 220 got speeding tickets. So of the people surveyed, 58% of them got speeding tickets. Of the people who drive red vehicles, looks like we're only looking at this column, what percent have received a speeding ticket? So of the red vehicle drivers, which is 70, how many of them got a speeding ticket? It's 41 out of 70, which is 59%. Of the people who do not drive a red vehicle, which is the other colored vehicles, what percent received a speeding ticket? So there are 150 people who drive other colored vehicles, and 87 of them got speeding tickets. So 87 out of 150, which is 58%. What can Josh conclude from his survey? So it looks like if you drive a red vehicle, you have a 59% chance of getting a speeding ticket. If you don't drive a red vehicle, you have a 58% chance. Now, you can say that people who drive red vehicles seem to get more speeding tickets than people who drive other colored vehicles. I would say slightly more likely to get a speeding ticket. You could even say that, you know what, the percentages are so close that it's practically the same. Either of those answers are probably fine. But yeah, it looks like there might be a slight chance that you're more likely to get a speeding ticket. All right, so next question. Use the results in Josh's two-way table to answer the following questions. We've still got a couple more. What is the frequency of people who have not received a speeding ticket? So people who did not receive a speeding ticket, what's the frequency that they didn't get a speeding ticket? Well, 92 people didn't get a speeding ticket. They're asking us for frequency here, not relative frequency. B, what is the relative frequency of people who have not received a speeding ticket? Well, the relative frequency, it's 92 people didn't get it, but 92 out of 220. So 92 out of 220, if you divide that, multiply by 100 or move the decimal place to the right twice, you end up with roughly 42%. So that's it for relative frequency. Go ahead and try some problems on your own. Good luck.